My name is Nandini Velho. I'm a wildlife biologist who was born and brought up in Goa. One important part of who I am and what my work has been about has just been about being raised in a place like Goa, which has a diverse set of ecosystems associated with it, and one such ecosystem is a tide pool. And a tide pool is an overlooked ecosystem where we're filming at today. And just like the tide pool, there are lots of other overlooked ecosystems like the forests of the Western Ghats, which are also under threat, and that is something that I work on. So I'm happy to be sitting here at a Carnatic concert organized by the BluePlanet series, and we're at a tide pool location right now. And it does seem that how can a Carnatic concert be filmed in a location like this, which is unusual, but it's actually not, because there's so much of music that is inspired by nature, and there are so many natural elements that continue to inspire art as well. The other thing is that I'm very happy to note is that these concerts have been filmed in various locations in consultation with wildlife scientists, in locations and ecosystems that are not only very unique, but ecosystems that are also under threat. And I think this is a starting point for a great level of engagement that is possible between wildlife scientists, musicians, illustrators and artists from across the board.
Hi, I'm Nishant Saldanha, and I am an artist from Goa who is currently working with the BluePlanet Festival in order to make artworks for this festival, and in a way in which they can highlight what is new and what is interesting about what BluePlanet is trying to do with Indian classical music and with ecology. As an artist, a visual artist, and along with many others who I am working with, around 25 young artists from Goa, many of whom have contributed hours of their time to the Amche Mollem campaign as artists. We are now working in a sort of different capacity to see, as an experiment, how art about ecology can work with the idea of Indian classical music. Many of us were actually new to Indian classical music, and there was so much that we had to learn through discovery. And then we had to think about what is it that in this sort of nascent way in which we started to understand Indian classical music, what then could we draw or make that could serve as a bridge between that and what Indian classical musicians do and the environment. It has been very interesting in terms of trying to work out how we will communicate these two separate ideas, which we realized were not so separate after all, that ecology and music, or rather nature and music, have so many parallels. I have made an image for the festival, which was in some sense also a piece about the Western Ghats, because it is what I am close to and it is the material that I understand. So for my piece, for BluePlanet, I worked on a piece that highlighted not only Indian classical music, but the biodiversity of the Western Ghats, where one of the concerts were filmed in the forest of Mollem. I think we thought the best way that we could proceed with this idea is not if we try to overly interpret through our visuals what Indian classical music is, or find obvious connections, or try to hint at something that we were not sure we could actually communicate. Instead, we thought that as visual artists and as environmentalists, we could bring everything that we know about ourselves and our ecology to the work and place it next to the music, and have two things coexist side by side.
So the location we are filming in right now, the concert might be a bit delayed because it threatens to rain in Goa, and this is completely unusual. For the first time in Goa, we have seen this amount of rain in December. And IMDb reports have also showed that every single month of the year in Goa it's been raining, which is one of the urgencies of dealing with climate change and really accepting this reality. And I'm glad that locations like this and concerts like this also are able to show us about the urgency in terms of which we need to engage with citizens' movements. The other thing that I feel is really important is that concerts like these, efforts like these, and musicians, artists, scientists, lawyers, and multiple other stakeholders coming together also show that the environmental movement is not only the business of very few number of people or NGOs or environmentalists, but has to be a broad-based movement, has to be a movement that is inclusive, and also has to be a movement that works with a level of incisiveness and urgency.
And as Nandini, my colleague in the movement, might have also mentioned, we find Amche Mollem or have built Amche Mollem to be a space where anyone can come to the movement and bring their set of skills in order to voice concern for the causes that they feel strongly about, particularly ecological, in their home state and hopefully anywhere else that they live and belong to. To be a part of this movement is just the incredible way in which we have discovered art can occupy several forms and in which to be inventive and help further an idea and amplify an idea. And not just that, to spread ideas to large audiences. We found that in our incredibly media-saturated age, it really is pictures that took our voices and concerns further than perhaps what we could have said as small groups of people gathering on ground, which would not have been possible because of the COVID pandemic. We found that we could take our voice and our concerns to the digital space when we couldn't gather on the streets. And we found that the best way to do this was through art, because art has this incredible ability to be disarming, and in that potential that it has to sort of momentarily sort of transform a person who's viewing it, it allows it to transfer its message onto them. So this is how the Amche Mollem campaign sort of gained traction in its early days. We worked really closely with scientists, with political people who were involved in politics, who understood legal issues and legal strategies, and we used art to sort of encapsulate their ideas and break it down and take it further to wider audiences.